I have a question for you. How many times have you thought you wanted to do something, or you should do something, or you felt called to do something, and yet you didn't because the thought was just obscured and overwhelmed by graffiti, by things, by people, by voices, by thoughts that what you should or shouldn't do? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today, is still working our way through the noise and get to the goals that we have, that we want for Act 3 of our lives. And that's today on this episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. So stay tuned. In today's world, older adults face major transitions like downsizing, relocating, or modifying their homes to age in place, all while embracing life after these changes. As a senior home advisor and seasoned realtor, Robin McCoy guides these decisions with care and thoughtful planning, helping create a vibrant future. Welcome to Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60 with me, your host, Robin McCoy. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Today, I want to talk about something that I think gets in the way of a lot of people making different sorts of decisions as they embark on kind of the chapter 3 of their life. I've just seen and had so many stories of this particular thing that I wanted to talk about it just a little bit. This weekend I was at a conference. It was called the Speakeasy Live. It was down in New Braunfels, Texas, with my friend April Adams-Petui and some new very good friends that I met while I was there. I was there giving a talk about really following the signs that we see in front of us that maybe we don't see, or we're ignoring, or we choose not to see when it comes time to make decisions about what we want to do in this next chapter of our life. And as some of you know, if you've been following and listening to me for a while, you know that in 2019, I went on a solo hike across northern Spain on the Camino de Santiago, and it was the French route, the French way. And I did that in 2019. It was a solo journey, and it was exceptional in my life. And I have learned many, many lessons that still come to me to this day from what I experienced during that time on the Camino. And in this talk, one of the things that I refer to is all the signs along the Camino pointing you which way to go. And some of them are clear, some are faded. And the one I want to talk about today is the ones that are just they're hidden. They are absolutely hidden, but under things like graffiti and memorabilia. People leave mementos and items to remember friends and loved ones and things like that from the Camino. So these podiums that are there with the sign are completely obscured, and you have to look very closely to see what direction you need to be going, right? To keep you on the right path on the Camino, keep you going the way you need to go. And with this, comes some thoughts, right? And I look at all that graffiti and the memorabilia and all the things really as other people's opinions regarding what we should do with our lives, with our houses, with our things, with everything. Everybody has an opinion. In fact, when I told everybody and friends and family that I was going on this journey and that I was going alone, so many people, oh my gosh, you can't do that. Oh, I'll go with you. You can't go alone. And really that is their fears or their insecurities or their uncertainties coming out reflected onto me. It's not really my fear. I wasn't afraid to go alone. I had studied. I knew what I was doing, sort of, to an extent. But it was other people's opinions that then made me start questioning what I was doing and if I had lost my mind. So I look at this, like I said, the other people's opinions. It's opinions of family, of friends, of professionals, real estate agents, CPAs, financial advisors, all these professionals, social media influencers telling you what you should do because you are 60, 70, or 80 years old. Whether it's they want you to buy their supplement, or they want you to go on their cruise ship, or they want you to move into their community, or they want to scare you into thinking, you're not going to be able to survive financially, whatever some of these influencers and advertisers are on TV. I think all of this just crowds our mental space. It crowds our mental space, and we get really just perplexed, and we get frozen, and we just don't know what to do. We are caught up in the overwhelm. We're caught up in leaving legacies for people, or we're caught up in hurting someone's feelings. What some of this may look like is, Mom, you said you'd never sell this house. Or the partner, perhaps. Maybe it's the spouse that is not ready to make a change and move somewhere different. Maybe it is the kids' trophies and pom-poms and athletic equipment and all this stuff that is still in their room, or in your garage, or your attic, or your basement if you have one. And they say, oh, don't throw that away. And yet they never come get it. And so your house has then been a storage unit, a free storage unit, for the last 35 years. So these are these things that you may see or hear or think when it comes to just not seeing the signs about what you want to do, right? Maybe you want to get rid of the big house, move into something more manageable, a little more lock and leave perhaps, so that you can travel, so that you can go places and do things that you want to do. Or perhaps it's you want to go on a grand adventure. Maybe you want to walk the Camino. And yet people are telling you you shouldn't. We've done a couple of episodes on this show about women solo traveling. And the organization is called Her House. You'll want to look for that and listen to that, because it's a great opportunity to maybe go do something that you've always wanted to do. And yet we still get a lot of opinions from other people. And it can paralyze us. And suddenly 5 years have passed, maybe 10 years have passed, and you're wondering, how did I get here? How did I miss the sign that said, you're 70, you've got a whole life ahead of you. Don't sit in this house and do nothing. Go do the things that you wanted to do. Whether it is continuing to work and giving your gifts to someone else, whether it is travel, whether it's just spending all the time with your grandkids, whatever it is for you is fine, as long as it's your choice. I have a client who really needed to sell her house. It was no longer serving her in the way that she needed to. All the bedrooms and bathrooms, showers were upstairs. It was a big house full of memories and a life well lived, but unfortunately, her physical condition was limiting what she could do, right? She couldn't get up the stairs easily, much less safely. And so often, many nights, she was sleeping in the recliner downstairs. And when we talked about selling the house, she didn't want to do that because that was a legacy she wanted to leave for her son. And while there's nothing wrong with that, we talked about how that house is her, that is her equity. Those are her funds to support her the rest of her life, right? And support a move, regardless of what that move looks like. But knowing he would never be able to afford a house on his own, she really wanted to leave it for him. And so she was continuing to live there, and it just wasn't serving her at the level that she needed her home to serve her any longer. So after discussions and conversations and a couple of other things that, went along the way, she did move into a active adult, over 55, independent living type of place. She got an apartment there. Her son, in fact, did move into the home and is paying her rent to help subsidize her living environment and her living space. And over the last year, she and her children have gone through everything and did it in a methodical way with a lot of memories and a lot of things shared. And it was difficult. And yet the house was cleared out. He is now living there, like I said, paying her rent. So she is leaving the house to the son, and it is still, subsidized for her so that she can continue to live. And I'm going to tell you, she is so happy. She has had a back surgery, so her back is better. And she's met so many new people because she's not isolated in this house, because one, she can't move, and two, it's just so big and overwhelming for her. We Are One Heart is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to bridging the gap between the needs and resources of low-income seniors and veterans. Rooted in compassion and love, our mission is to provide housing, living assistance, and access to critical resources that ensure dignity and support for the elderly in underserved communities. At the heart of We Are One Heart's work is the belief that every individual shares a common humanity, a heart connected through love and care. We are committed to creating a future that honors those who have shaped the past by offering programs and services that enhance their quality of life. For more information or to donate, visit wa1h.org. That's wa1h.org. Another thought came to mind on this. When I was on the Camino, I was walking, and I'm solo, right? So I'm not talking to anybody. You talk to a few people on the Camino. Some of them speak English. Most of them don't. They're from around the world. And you get in your head, right? That's what you're doing. That's really the whole point of going, is to get your thought processes in order, clear your head, make decisions, see what you're capable of, all these things. And you're just walking, and you're going, and you think you're following the signs, but you miss one because it's covered with all this stuff. All right, so I'm walking, and then suddenly I find myself in the middle of a farmer's cow pasture. And I looked up, and I panicked a little bit, and I looked around, and there were cows everywhere. And I'm like, how did I get here? What happened? What do I do? Where's the path? Did I step in anything, And it was, a good 15 seconds, 30 seconds of uncertainty. And I think that's what happens to us. We go, now what do I do? Where do I go? How do I get away from this? These people are talking in your head, telling you what they think, and it's not really what you want to do. So on the Camino, you don't just sit on a rock and wait for the environment to come and save you and the path to suddenly change, or even the farmer to come out and guide you back. No, you have to stand up and you turn and you retrace your steps, meaning thinking about what you really want, what you feel you really need for your own well-being, whether it be physical, mental, financial, whatever that is, whatever it looks like it's best for you. You get back on that path and you find your way and you make those decisions, and then you see the signs again. And I think that is something that we miss, because especially this generation, and then my parents, the generation before us, we were taught to provide, and we were taught that, it was interesting at this talk. My friend Adina said, we're born, we work hard, we retire, we do what we want, and we die. And that's how people were brought up. And the truth is, we're living a lot longer than we thought we would when we were, like when my parents or her parents, Adina's parents, were young. We're living much longer. So therefore, we've got more, maybe even comorbidities. Maybe there's more dementia. Maybe there's more just physical ailments. And yet, we've still got 30 to 40 years left in us. At 62, when I realized that I've got 30 to 40 years left in my life, the last thing I wanted to do was just sit in my house. I want to go on adventures. I want to do things. I want to make those sorts of decisions. My husband and I start talking about retirement. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? Well, now we have a grandbaby on the way. That changes things, right? That changes things. Do we stay in the Dallas area? Or do we go somewhere, that all these things start to come into it, but we have to make those decisions. We do. We can't let other people, they can make suggestions, but we still need to make sure we're doing it for the right reasons. We're doing it for us. Having a partner that wants to say when you want to go. Having kids that still remember growing up in that house, and that is the family home. And I'll tell you, the guilt that rides on people's shoulders because of that family home, that guilt is heavy. That weight is heavy. And so I just want to encourage people to have these conversations early and not be afraid of just checking those signs once in a while. Am I seeing the signs, or are they just covered up with so many other opinions? And which ones are really speaking to me and which ones are not? Because I just think we need to be a little more clear and have some real conversations with people. And with people, I mean with our families, and also the professionals that we enlist to serve us, whether it's our CPAs, our estate attorneys, our financial planners, all those folks, the realtors, the senior home coaches, those people, they need to know what you want so that they can advocate on your behalf should the time come. And talk to your kids, talk to your loved ones, talk to your spouse, for heaven's sakes, because a lot of times we don't do that. And make sure they understand. If it is in your mindset and in your goals and in your plan to sell house A and go to house B and do something else, make sure everybody knows. Because then what happens is you call all the kids on Thanksgiving and you say, I'm selling the house, and they all freak out. What? No, what are you doing? And then they start thinking you're crazy. So what you want to do is just start the conversation early. I don't know that I want to live in this house the rest of my life. And get those objections out of the way early. But Mom, you said you'd never sell it. But Mom, this is where we grew up. But Mom, that's the tree I fell out of and broke my arm. But Mom, that's where, I met my husband. He was the kid across the street, whatever that is. But starting those early and handling those objections early so that when the time comes and you are ready to walk away from that home into your next place, it doesn't come as big, huge surprises. So anyway, that is just what I was thinking about this weekend while I was down in New Braunfels and listening to some of the other talks from the women that were there, and just understanding that we all have continued lives to live. And just because we turn 60 or 70 or even 80, it does not mean it's over. My mother is about to turn 90. And my bonus mom is in her 80s. And so there's still life to be lived. There is still life to be lived. And I just want everyone to recognize that, not only in yourself, but in your aging loved ones. Please don't put them in a box. And please don't force necessarily your wants and needs upon them, because maybe they have other ideas and they don't want to hurt your feelings. So have conversations early. Don't be afraid to talk about it. It's okay. A plan is a plan, and that is all. It can be changed at any time. And I think we all just want everyone in our family to live the life they want to live. So that's my 2 cents, my 15 minutes of thought, stream of consciousness, if you will. I think it's something that we need to consider. And I do talk about this. There's a whole thing around following the signs when we get to making decisions as we go into our next chapter, our Act 3, our Stage 3, whatever it's being called out there now. And I love to talk about it. And so if I'm open to coming to you, to doing anything online, virtual, and just kind of talk about following the signs and making decisions as we go forward. So thanks for your ears today, and I appreciate you tuning in and being a loyal fan and subscriber to the Relax I Got This Embracing Life After 60 podcast, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me on Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. I know that time is our greatest asset, and I appreciate the time that you spend with me. If you're finding the information on this podcast useful, please subscribe to the channel on your favorite platform so that you never miss another episode. Don't forget to go to our website where you will find additional resources, downloads, and coaching programs. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60.